Hello, welcome to The Shared Shelf. This is a bookish podcast hosted by
Sean.
and Shauna. We are husband and wife duo who love books, and so we want to talk about them.
We both read a lot and we have a lot of conversations about books, like literally every day. So we figured we might as well save some of those and share them with you all.
This is our very first episode, and Sean, I think we should tell the people that today is our wedding anniversary.
It is.
6 years.
And of course, you can see how much we love books. The fact that we're spending our day recording a book talk.
Yep.
So I want to start off with a little bit just about like what this is and what genres we read to see if you all hate it and want to stop listening right away. So this is going to be bi-weekly, hopefully, sometimes every week, sometimes once a month. We are going to talk a little bit about what we're reading, updates on how we're doing. Kind of, I want to get into what's helping you or hindering you from what you're reading. And then some book news, some random topics that we'll get into. And today will kind of be a sample of that.
Okay, so do you want to start with our genres?
Yeah, so you go first.
Okay, so I'm pretty specific. I love literary fiction. I love historical fiction. Classics are something that within the last 2 years I've started tackling. I love them, but they take a lot of brain power. So I like to kind of sprinkle some lighter things in between them. Lately, Sean's been getting me into some fantasy, and I'll talk about what I'm reading later on, but that's mostly what I read.
We do have a little bit of crossover
Yes.
because I also read literary fiction, some historical fiction. I'm not big on classics. I'm not opposed to them. I just haven't found one yet that really interests me. I read mostly speculative fiction, science fiction, fantasy, a little bit of literary fiction as well, though. Those are usually the books that we end up crossing over on. Sometimes speculative fiction, too.
Yeah. I will say also that kind of the driving force and the hope with this podcast and sharing our reading with you guys is that maybe you also cross over between our genres, and then maybe you have a partner who reads different books than you, but you want to talk to them about it, and maybe you guys can listen to this together and it can prompt some discussions.
Yes, and we're always open to book suggestions. So
Yes, please bring them. All right, Sean, you're going to kick us off?
I am. So we talked about what the podcast is. We talk a little bit about our genres. I want to talk a little bit about the book that you're reading right now. So I'm not going to give an update on what I'm reading right now. And tell me about, this is kind of how this segment will go in the future.
Okay.
What you're reading.
Okay.
How you found it. And we'll start there.
Okay, so something that everyone should know is that I'm a very chaotic reader. I read 3 to 5 books at one time. So I'll just go through them quickly and then we can expand on them as you want. First book that I'm currently reading is Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is a book that Sean read very recently. He blew through the entire trilogy in like a week, maybe?
I think it was 1 book per week.
And
don't go too deep into it because that's what we're going to deep dive on.
Okay. Anyways, so Sean told me I definitely need to read it, and I am feeling a little bit like I'm in a reading slump, so I picked it up and loving it so far. Other books that I'm currently reading are Rules of Civility. That is my book club's pick for this month. Honestly, haven't gotten too far into it, so I need to get back into that. And then the third book that I'm reading is the third book in the Outlander series. It is Voyager, and I'm at maybe the 45% mark. It's quite a big book, so it's taking a really long time. And that's what I'm reading.
Cool. So before we dive into Jade City and the Greenbone Saga and my love for that, what size books do you like to read? Or do you not care? Are you intimidated by any books?
Great question. One of my reading goals for this year actually is to read bigger books because I have so many larger books. And when I say big books, I mean above 400 pages.
Okay.
Because as a non-fantasy reader, like 400 pages for literary fiction is kind of, that's big. That's insane. but I'm trying to tackle them. So Jade City is what? How many pages would you say it is?
I want to say it's in the 600 or 700s. Let's take a look.
So for me, that is terrifying.
Almost 500.
Okay.
Just shy of 500.
Well, that's still a big book to me. And so that's one of my reading goals, is to read books over 400 pages, books I may have been putting off because the page count's kind of scary. Classics in general are like a little bit shorter. Literary fiction's also a little bit shorter, just because oftentimes than not, they're character studies. So you really wouldn't have, a character study that lasts 600 pages. That's a lot. But there are some, and I'm starting to read them.
I personally don't like books. I can't tell you the last time I read a book less than 350 pages. I actually am putting off some books like Pure Nessie and This Is How We Lose the Time War that I've heard great things about, but they're so short that I almost want to maybe wait till the holidays come around when I have time off and I can just read it in a day.
Yeah. See, the thing about short books for me is that you can just crush them. So they're like a really good in between big books. You just crush a small book.
I really like the idea or the feeling of getting lost. Like Jade City, Greenbone Saga, that's probably 450 to 650 per book. And like, I just lived in that world for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I will say that my experience so far with reading books that are more than 400 pages, I am getting lost in them and I really like it. The first example that comes to mind is The Bee Sting. When I was reading that, I felt
by Paul Smith.
I believe so. I read that every day for like, I don't know, 3 weeks or something. I could only read like chunks at a time, but every day I was looking forward to jumping back into that story. And that's literary fiction. It's a character study, but it still was, I loved spending an excessive amount of time with that family.
And that's something that I really enjoy, of like, you find something that you really like, it's really long, and you're almost just like, oh, will this work day be done? Or like, is it almost lunchtime so I can read for a little bit and like go back into it?
Yeah, The Bee Sting I was reading like, a couple of pages here and there, any chance that I got. I was like, let me just jump right back in. And then finishing it, I was very lost. I was like, oh, what am I going to do with
You get like a hangover. So that's something I went through that I think we'll talk about in the next episode, of like a hangover. So it's not a book slump for me. I differentiate between reading slumps or book slumps and hangovers.
True.
So like the Greenbone Saga, I lived in that world for 3 or 4 weeks and I had a hangover after it. Nothing was really scratching that itch or pulling me in. I also like that was exacerbated by, I read 3 or 4 amazing books in a row and like was riding this high.
Yeah.
Like hit the summit and was like, oh no, it's all going downhill from here.
Yeah. It's hard to capture that. It's like lightning in a bottle.
So you gave us all 3 books that you're reading right now?
Yes. And then what are you reading?
So I am reading a couple things I'll get to in the next episode.
What?
I want to dive into the Greenbone Saga right now.
Oh, okay.
Because we're going to do episode 1 and 2 in pretty quick succession, because Shauna's going on a trip and I want to get these uploaded before she goes.
Okay.
So I'll save mine for the next episode. And then next episode 2, we'll dive into one of your other reads.
Sure. Okay.
So the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. It's Jade City, Jade War, Jade Legacy. I believe Jade City came out in 2019. Jade War was like 2021. And I think Jade Legacy was 2022, maybe 2023. But this is a series that I'm starting to see on BookTube getting a lot of attention. And it's a book series that I just randomly picked up that you bought me for Christmas. We have a tradition that we've taken from somewhere.
I think it's like a Scandinavian. I want to say
it's a Scandinavian tradition. I won't try to butcher the pronunciation.
Try and say it. Just try it.
No. Shauna bought me Jade City as a gift. So each Christmas we buy each other.
Christmas Eve we present each other a book that we thought the other person would like, and then the tradition is on Christmas Eve you open up your gift, the book, and then you spend time reading it together that Christmas Eve.
So we've started doing that. I think this is year 2 or 3.
3.
And this will be year 3. And Shauna bought me Jade City. I started to read it. I just read Tokyo Vice, a nonfiction series. I think I forgot to mention this earlier. I read a lot of nonfiction too. Yes. But I read Tokyo Vice. I was kind of in that mood. So I started reading Jade City and I just bounced off of it. And we'll talk a little bit in the next episode too about bouncing off books. But immediately the second time I picked it up, which was maybe 3 weeks ago, I fell in love with it. I think I was 50 pages in when I ordered the second and third book in the trilogy because it was just so good. It really rocked. It's a multi-generational organized crime political thriller, and it has magical elements in it, but the magic is much more of a resource than it is actually like a fantastical element. So it's really unique in that, like, the magic is not the main character. It really starts with a city nation scope in book one over the course of a year. It moves on to multiple nations over multiple years in book two, and then it finishes with multiple decades across the world in book three. I thought it had really brilliant characters, this compelling plot, unpredictable twists, and moments that'll make you cry that will really make you say, what the hell?
You cried?
Not. I wanted to cry.
For the record, it takes a lot to make Sean cry. So for him to say that, that means a lot.
You may hear our dog in the background who clearly needs a walk and is not participating in the way that we want her to. But this, if you like The Sopranos, if you like The Godfather, if you like Succession, you'll like this epic fantasy in an urban 80s Asian-inspired setting with light magic that acts as more of a resource or a plot point than a driving factor. And if you don't like fantasy, but you like generational drama, succession stories, read this.
Yeah, I will say that as someone who is not very well versed in fantasy, picking this up, very easy to get a grasp on what is the magic system, what's going on. It's kind of somewhat rooted in reality, so it's very I think it's very friendly for people who maybe are a little intimidated by diving into a fantasy world and are a little nervous for the world building, because sometimes I'm nervous. I can't wrap my head around what's gonna go on.
So that's the nice thing about this series, though, is Fonda Lee did a lot of young adult YA writing before this. So one of the few criticisms I have of this series is it's not this beautifully well-written prose, incredible world building, brilliant fight scene. It's an easy read.
It is easy. Yeah, it's easy. She paints a good picture.
Yeah,
but it's not like overly flowery.
Because there's times when you're reading like Game of Thrones or something, and you're like, oh man, like I bounced off Game of Thrones on book 3, and I've yet to go back because it's a mentally intensive, exhausting.
How many books are there?
I think there's 5 or 6, and like we're waiting on 7, but
and you read the third?
We're never gonna get it. No, I started the third.
Okay.
So I know you have been struggling to get into Jade City a little bit, but it's not because of the book. So told us what you're reading, kind of told us how you're feeling about it. What's hurting you or hindering you from reading?
Oh, well, I can't stop watching the Vampire Diaries. I don't watch a ton of television, but every now and then I will find an old series or something where I just completely binge it. And so I'm on season 8, the last season, episode 10 of the Vampire Diaries, and it's all I've wanted to spend my free time on. And then it's that paired with, I've just had a pretty busy summer where I've been bouncing around a bit, and summer is always my low reading point of the year. And I'm okay with that because I'm doing other things. In the fall, though, is when I usually speed up a bit. So my slow reading of Jade City has nothing to do with the content of the book. It's just my
ability to sit down and focus.
Yeah, my lack of wanting to sit down.
Okay. And then what is helping you start to build that habit back? Like helping you read more? For me, it's, having the books in front of me at all times always helps. So I carry the books around the house with me. Like I'll start my day in the library, read a little bit, drink some coffee, and then when I go into my office to sit down for the day, I'll bring it with me and have it next to me. That way, if I have 5 minutes or 10 minutes or a meeting ends early, I'm looking at the book, and that helps me read more.
Well, I feel like you're always a major part in helping me sit down and read. Because when you want to sit down and read, I'm like, well, I want to spend time with you, so I'll sit down and read. But if you're off doing something or you're out of the house, I'm probably watching Vampire Diaries.
I just don't know how the sausage gets made. All right, anything else you want to say about current reads or the Greenbone Saga? I highly recommend this to people. If you're not into fantasy or you're curious about it, this is a good place to start. It's easy to get into. It's easy to understand. It's almost, there's a few terms you have to, like, usually in fantasy, everything has a new name and there's new races, and you need to figure out what this means and remember that, and there might be a glossary. This isn't like that. There's a few things, but it's much more cultural than it is world building elements.
No, I don't really have anything else to add. I think you painted a great picture of it, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I'm at like the 130-ish page mark. So,
do you think, as of right now, if you had to say, will you go on to the next book, or is it too early?
It's too early for me to tell. Okay. I'm not, because of the genres that I typically read and the stories that I'm drawn to.
So that's another interesting thing, is that, like, you're not used to reading multi-book series.
Exactly. And I'm on the third book of the Outlander series, and I'm having serious thoughts of, like, do I even want to continue on?
Well, how many are in that?
Oh my God. Like 7 or something.
So this is something that I take issue with.
What?
The multi-book series that I'm starting to find after reading Jade City. I think Jade City might be the first, like, true trilogy that I read, because I don't count other things. Like Joe Abercrombie, who I love, has like a trilogy and then 3 standalones and then a second trilogy, but like it's all part of the same story, so you have to read them all. Jade City's the first true 3 books and done series that I've read.
Okay.
And I think I like that more than like these
long
7
series
to 10. Because like Wheel of Time is like held up as everyone's favorite in fantasy. I haven't read it. It's like 14 books. And it's crazy to me because there's books 7 through 10 they call the slog.
Yeah.
So like, was that 4 books that people are like, oh, if you just get through those 4 books, it's great. And I'm like, personally, I'm like, 4
That's
books?
exactly what happened to me with the Outlander series, because when I finished the first one and I posted about it on Instagram and I was so excited and I loved the first one so much, someone responded and asked if I plan on reading the whole series. And then I asked for like a brief, like, how did you like the whole series? And they had the same reaction that there's a handful of them that they were like, yeah, these weren't my favorite, or I didn't like this one at all. And then I'm like, why do I want to read that? Yeah. To just get to the end of the series.
It's
I don't know.
Because like on one hand, like I said, I love living in these worlds for a long time.
Yeah.
But I've also like gotten 3/4 of the way through series and bounced off and been like, I just can't do this anymore. Or
like the Brandon Sanderson one.
Well, yeah, that's a whole different conversation for another day. But like, there's a famous sci-fi series, The Expanse. It actually was turned into a TV show, ultimately canceled, RIP. But that's like 10 books, and I fell off at like book 6 or 7, and now it's been like a year, so I'm like, I either need to find a good YouTube video summary or like go back and reread them.
Yeah, that's so much work.
So I'm thinking like the trilogies, 3 and done, even if like the middle one is weaker, which they say with trilogies, like if they're that popular, they can't be that bad.
To answer your question though, I do think it's too early for me to tell if I'll continue on with the Greenbone Saga, but check back in with me when I reach the halfway point, because I think I might have an answer for you then.
I think this book also takes off a lot in the last quarter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I would be curious to hear,
because I'm at a spot right now. Maybe what am I? Pick that up. Am I at the first quarter of the book? Maybe.
Yeah.
Something just happened that I'm actually very invested in, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. So that's.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear like halfway and then like end of the book if it changes from there.
I'm sure it will, and I'm sure I'll get connected to the characters. I'm driven heavenly by
Heavenly or heavily?
Heavily.
Heavenly.
I'm heavenly. I'm driven heavily by characters and connecting with characters.
Oh, then like this is you're gonna follow some of these characters for like decades.
Oh wow.
That's something that I've learned from Stephen King. So we'll talk at some point about our favorite books.
Yeah, we should have a whole episode on Stephen King.
We're gonna do like a Oh, we can do it. Definitely do a Stephen King episode, but I also want to do like a Mount Rushmore. So start thinking about like your Mount Rushmore of books.
Oh, I've never heard it phrased like that.
Yeah, it's very common in like sports stuff of
So
like who's your Mount Rushmore of point guards
so
and
who
like
I'd want to put up on
on
a
your Mount
mountain?
Rushmore of books,
Oh.
but only four. Because I think top tens is like clicky, but then like I hate when it's like top 10. And it's like this one's not really one of my favorites, but I got to round it out.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
So like
Okay,
who
Mount
are
Rushmore.
you squeezing in there and who's getting cut out?
Well,
But we'll get there. Anyways,
spoiler, Stephen King.
From Stephen King, I've learned I really like slice of life.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's a character study, but like getting to know a character deeply.
Mm-hmm.
And like this was a great example of like
Stephen King does a great character study.
Yeah. Watching these characters over time.
Yeah.
So what do you normally read format wise? Like I primarily read print, but sometimes audiobook.
So I read print. I read hardcover, paperbacks, whatever. A physical book is my primary choice, but I do always have ebook on my Kindle that I read in bed. I can't read a physical book in bed, so I usually have like my daytime books, and then I have a book at night. Which Outlander is my book at night, which is kind of crazy because it's so long.
That might be part of why you're slogging through it.
Definitely.
Because
I read like 2 pages and then I fall asleep.
I did that with a book. There's a series in like sci fantasy called The Sun Eater. And I read the first book. I really liked it. People said the second book's much better.
Mm-hmm.
That became my right before bed book. And I hated it.
Oh, really?
I thought it was so bad. I was like, I don't get it.
I do
and
think
that it took me forever to get through it. And I really think that contributed to.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why I chose it as my bedtime book. I think I probably need something that's a little more like light and fluffy.
I think you, for a bedtime book, you either need light and fluffy, almost like, I don't care if I finish this.
Well, I was going to do Fourth Wing, and then you told me not to.
I feel very strongly about that book, and I don't want to piss everybody off, so.
Okay.
But either light and fluffy where like you're almost like, I don't care if I finish this, or for me, I don't do a dedicated bedtime book anymore.
So what do you do?
So I'm reading,
but everyone should know this. You do physical books in bed.
I read physical books. Yes, I have a book light. But I read like
I have a book light.
2 or 3 books at a time.
You do
Usually
actually have a
nonfiction
handful
to
on your
fiction.
nightstand.
And well, those are the same books. They're here now because I carry them with me around the house all day.
We should get you a tote.
Don't need it. I'm just carrying them around the house. I will read those throughout the day. So I might, this is something too, like there's very rarely do I sit down and read one book for an extended period of time, like 2 hours. I read.
You do read in
1
chunks.
to 3 chapters of this book, and then I'll read a chapter or 2 of that book, and then I'll get up and go tidy up or go for a walk, and then when I come back, I'll read another chapter of the second book again, and then bounce back to the first book, and it really chops it up, but I grind through 5 to 10 chapters a day doing that.
That I need to start doing that.
And then when I go to bed, usually one of my books is like much higher brain power. So one of them is like an epic fantasy with like all the stuff where you're like so many names and so many places and like I don't even know what's going on exactly. That I can't read before bed, but I'm reading another book that's like much lighter, more humorous, brain neutral. I'm actually rereading it, so I already know what happened if I fall asleep.
I know what book it is. You're not going to tell them?
No, we'll wait till the next episode.
All right. You guys have to tune back in. It is funny, though, to hear you talk about your reading habits like that, because I actually think I might be the exact opposite. I read in large chunks. I sit down and I might like read for an hour straight, and then I won't touch a book again for the rest of the day.
Yeah. And I probably never read for more than 30 to 45 minutes without 30 to 45 minutes without, getting up and doing something. So, but I don't read ebooks. I used to have I have a Kindle, but I de-Amazoned. I tried to jailbreak my Kindle, but it was very cumbersome. I figured it out.
I thought you did it.
It was very cumbersome. I figured it out. but it's not working the way I expected it to when I return to like read again. So like it's not just like super easy. You're essentially like opening a special book in your Kindle. It's not intuitive.
Yeah.
I need to get a Kobo at some point.
Okay, yeah. But why can't you just keep it as a Kindle as you have it and then just get the ebooks from the library on Libby?
Yeah, I can. But I want to buy other ebooks. I just don't want to get them through Amazon.
Yeah, okay. Totally get that.
So last thing I want to talk about is there's a first edition of The Hobbit found in Brighton, England.
Whoa, wait, recently?
Yes, like very recently. Probably hear our dog sneezing and
like she's being she can't handle not being the center of attention.
But the first edition of the Hobbit found apparently
Wait, can you tell me how it was found?
I was just about to tell you. You interrupted. Thank you for interrupting. So apparently the person who owned it, their kids or grandkids found it.
Wow.
And the person who originally owned it was friends with Tolkien.
What?
Yeah. And they just happened to find it on the shelf, and it was a first edition. So
oh my god,
it sold, I think, at auction for $49,000.
They sold it?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I would put that on display.
So how much would you pay for a book?
Okay, I would not pay that much. Here's the thing. I would appreciate if I had it, but I wouldn't pay.
So I'm not talking necessarily about that, but like,
oh, how much would it?
Okay, yeah. So like for the coolest deluxe edition of your favorite book.
So
how much would you pay?
Okay.
Because there are now you see deluxe editions for like $200, $400, $1,000.
Well, okay. So I was gonna say, me as a book consumer, I don't care about deluxe editions. I don't spend money on that. I pretty much buy all my books secondhand. So deluxe editions and all these different versions are not important to me. With that being said, I do collect The Great Gatsby. I have like, how many copies do you think? Like 30, 40 of The Great Gatsby. And I have had this conversation with myself of, if I found an edition that I didn't yet own, how much would I be willing to pay for it? And I think I'd be willing to pay like 100, 150 maybe.
Damn, dude. All right.
But this is not an everyday occurrence. This is not a normal thing. This is not this is not once a week I'm going out and finding an edition.
We're talking about what you would pay. So I
would pay up to $150.
That's
probably.
Crazy. Okay.
And I would hope that you would too, for me as a gift.
No way.
You wouldn't. If you found an edition of The Great Gatsby that was,
first of all, it's your Great Gatsby collecting has reached the point where I don't know what you have, and you refuse to create a photo album that I can view online to easily cross-check against.
It's because it's so much work.
It's not so much work.
It is.
To take photos?
To get them all down and lay them
take
out.
30 books down, set them down, and just take like click, click, click,
okay,
click.
Fine.
Anyways,
I'll make you a Google Drive of it.
I would pay for like a deluxe edition of my favorite book, maybe $50.
Oh my god, I thought you were going to say 70.
No.
You're a cheapo.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, for me, I'm like, it's got to be super special.
But do you even like special editions?
I do. There are. But so here's the thing. I do want to do an episode. We would have to be on camera eventually, of like our favorite form factors of books. Because I have like an edition of The Devils by Joe Abercrombie that has like feathered edges pages, a really cool dust jacket, a beautiful cover underneath, and then cover art on the inside. And it feels like a deluxe edition, but it's the basic $30, $35 hardcover in the US. So I have appreciation for books like that, but also like unpopular opinion.
I know what you're going to say. And I'm going to agree.
I love the form factor of mass market paperbacks.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's not what I thought you were going to say.
What do you think I was going to say?
I thought you were going to say unpopular opinion. I hate sprayed edges.
Oh, yeah. No, that's for sure.
Because sprayed edges used to be kind of like, like a quote special edition, and now like every single thing has sprayed edges.
I think 2 years ago, I went to London for a program that I run, and I came across a book. Don't know the book, but I knew the author, and I had been reading some of his like reporting work. And I was like, oh, I want to read this guy's stuff. and it was really cool orange cover book with orange sprayed edges. And I brought it home and I thought it was the coolest thing. And then I feel like within 6 months,
it lost its value. Yeah.
Every book that we see in the bookstore has sprayed edges, and I think they're all ugly.
They're all ugly. Like bright blue, bright pink, neon. I don't want that.
Even with, though, like designs on them, I think most of them, like Fourth Wing has like dragons and stuff, and I don't think any of them look good.
Oh, I don't know the book, but I saw someone on BookTube sharing. It was like in a book haul video or whatever, and I don't remember the book, but I think it had blood drops, like droplet. It was a horror book, and it had droplets of blood as the sprayed edges. That was cool, but I think it's just
we saw
so
one the other
overdone.
day in Barnes and Noble with like photorealistic flames. Yeah, and that was cool, but also like, yeah, it's overdone. And
wait, so going back to the mass market paperbacks, I do agree with you. But I just haven't read a mass market paperback in that format.
You probably, I think you should read a Stephen King mass market paperback, because like they are. I have a Brandon Sanderson
I like the feel
series.
of them.
I have a Brandon Sanderson series. The newest book that came out in the Stormlight Archives, Wind and Truth, is in hardcover, like the original print edition, 1,600 pages. This thing is massive. It is literally a doorstopper. It's bigger than a brick that you would build your house with.
Well,
part of the reason I bounced off of it and haven't finished it is because I can't read it in bed. It's just too unwieldy.
Yeah.
The first 5 books in that series I bought on Amazon Prime Day or something years ago in a box set, mass market paperbacks, for like 30-40 bucks.
Yeah,
because the mass market paperbacks are usually about 10-12 bucks. I could literally put it in my pocket when I went somewhere. It's the same number of pages, pretty much, like 1,500 pages,
just smaller.
But in a mass market paperback, I can hold it with one hand.
Yeah.
Also, like, I have really nice hardcover editions of books that I take the dust jackets off and I'm like, I don't want to damage.
Yeah.
When I have a mass market paperback, I'm like, I don't care what happens to this thing. I'm not mistreating it on purpose, but I'm like, I'll throw it in my bag if it gets crinkled, whatever.
Do we want to talk about that? Because that's so I'm borrowing your Jade City, and you specifically told me I had to take care of it.
So I'm not crazy about how I take care of my books. I know they're going to get messed up in the day-to-day reading, and I think they should be read. But I don't go out of my way. Like, you are a malicious reader, dude.
Okay, whoa. I do not go out of my way. I don't go out of my way to destroy my books. That makes me sound psycho.
For weeks, you refused to use a bookmark, and you would just leave your book laying open for like days at a time sometimes.
Yeah, crack
to the
spine.
page. Yeah.
I'm the type of reader where, I mean, okay, so circling back, like I buy most of my books secondhand, so they're already a little bit,
loved.
Yeah, they're already pre-loved. And I'm just a big believer in that books are meant to be read and they're meant to be enjoyed and held. And
yes, but not abused.
I don't abuse my books.
Leaving a book open for days on end, or the other day when you used a bowl of avocados as a bookmark for like half a day. That is too far. If you're going to throw the book in a book bag, like, yeah, sure. But also, I think it also depends on the book, because there are books that I have of my, like, copies of my favorite books, or that are really nice editions.
Yeah.
That I'm like, I want to take care of this. Like the book that I'm reading now, I read without the dust cover because I like the dust cover and I like the way it looks.
Yeah.
But there's other books that I'm like,
I
don't care what this happens to this thing.
I think all books look better when they're a little roughed up.
It's a little roughed up, but
I love a roughed up book.
All right, everybody, we're going to end it there. Shauna likes it rough. We will see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.